every pony, this is Flash Notion, the Ponyfied Talking Head, back with another reaction video, and I haven't even posted all the ones from last week. But it's time to record again, because we've got a brand new episode, episode 19 of Season 7 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and, yeah, this one's called something along the lines of, It Isn't the Main Thing About You, or something like that. And this one's a rarity episode, I know that much. And it also has Zecora in it, I also know that. And I also know that Rarity's gonna have something very bad happen to her mane, and she's gonna freak out a little bit, I think. And then somebody's gonna turn her into looking like a punk-type pony, and I've only seen one image of it, because it was used as a FiM fiction cover there, but, I'd say it's a pretty good look. So yeah, I mean, it's a little weird to see. It's a little weird how much I like it, but yeah, I kind of do. In any case, though, I don't really know what to expect from this episode all around, but I'm looking at the first images here on when I open up the file. And it looks like we've got, is that Berry Punch on the front here? Looking at some flowers? I don't know, but I see Apple Bloom in the background, and I'm thinking that she might be talking to, what was his name? Burn Oak? I don't know. Let's just, I'm actually eager to see the answer to that, so let's just start this off and see. So, start the video in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, she is! She's talking to Burn Oak! Yay! Ah, and there's Grandparent and Granny Smith! Ah!
Looks like I'm the only one who left Mayor's Day to the last minute.
There's just so many. How can I choose?
Wait a minute. What? Why are...
Now hang on, every pony. We'll help all of you. Ow! What I would do is pick flowers that accentuate my mane. It makes for a captivating color story when you present them to whomever they're intended.
Boop. That's adorable.
That's it!
That helps, I guess.
Color consultations was a great idea, Rarity. Now, what can we do for you? Oh, darling, I need a dozen lavender pieces for photo finishes shoot on the most beautiful manes in Equestria. I know you're swamped, but it's for Vanity Mayor. She's going to take pictures of my mane, so color coordination is a must. Anything for you, Rarity.
Okay.
Have you a single big one? If the wind came from one direction, it would really intensify the effect.
I don't, but I could make you one. It's not like I've got anything else to do.
I do enjoy the windswept look, but other ponies might need to see it before they feel it.
She's like, please, don't touch the mane.
Will be flowing over the chairs in the tableau I have in mind.
Oh, clothes and sofas, huh?
Choose the color.
This is a long opening, by the way.
In a pale yellow. I need something across the color wheel from this.
Oh, if these came in different colors, I'd buy one for every room.
Sales have been down. More colors it is.
Well, Rarity's helping out everybody, I guess.
Pinky, I need to put photo finish in a good mood, and nothing creates a better mood than your confection. I'm not interrupting.
Aww.
Celebrating the anniversary of the twins' first sneezes.
Oh. Of course.
Just about 1 year ago, there was a tickle in your nose. You snorted through the nursery. Happy sneeze-aversary.
Not the
Congratulations.
weirdest song Pinky's ever done. Okay. Well, so premise-wise, I mean, photo finish taking a picture of Rarity's mane. Wait a minute, that's something that she wanted way back in Green Isn't Your Color, isn't it? Yeah, it is. She originally wanted photo finish to take pictures of her, or something like that, or her outfits at least. So, in a way, this is kind of a follow-up on that. I wonder if Fluttershy will have anything to say about it. But it's obvious that when her mane gets destroyed, this is gonna make things very bad.
Pinky! I can't have photo finish shoot my mane like this, and this
Oh, dear.
string won't come off.
Oh, Josh Haber wrote it.
Because it's not just party string, it's super sticky celebration string. Sorry, I guess my sneeze aversion
And
was a little too
hey,
sneeze.
I think Flurry Heart taught the twins some bad habits because they just threw the cupcakes around.
Find a way to clean this up before the shoot tomorrow.
You hope.
Actually, you might consider doing the same.
Uh-oh.
If only we had some kind of super sudsy mane conditioning shampoo for you and a magical cleaning remover potion for me. That's it!
Crowbar!
Laura! She's a wonder with a cauldron. I'm sure she can mix up a fix for both of us. Huh? That's good, because it would take forever to yank all those baked goods out of this super sticky celebration string. I think you may still have some baking to do.
Yeah. Beautify the wilderness. Get that yucky stuff out of the way.
I do wish Sakura lived in town. One shouldn't have to brave the darkest part of
I
the
hope we
forest
get-
for shampoo.
Oh.
Photo finish would want to take a picture of my mane? Well, I'm not sure that your style is quite right for this particular photo essay. Photo finish traveled everywhere in her search for the most beautiful of manes.
Aww.
Koyaks don't have manes, per se, and I'm not sure their style is quite what she's looking for either. Though at this moment, neither is mine. Don't worry. Sakura will absolutely be able to help. I'm sure you're right. Listen, spooky eyes! Why don't you take a picture? It will last longer. On second thought, don't. Getting my picture taken in this state is what I'm trying to avoid.
Oh, wow. Anyways, I was saying I hope we get some Sakura.
I'm sure they seem strange, but my methods are mine. After all, I've been doing this for quite a long time.
I'll have those cupcakes cleaned up in no time. You really should bake.
They're gonna mix them up.
For your mane, of course. Just soap will do. So use my super sudsy shampoo.
Oh, what a relief. I can't tell you how worried I was that my mane wouldn't be ready for the shoot. Oh.
You were right to be concerned. Manes are tricky, I have learned.
Tell me about it.
Cleaning is simple, but a magical fix could cause any number of troublesome ticks.
Really?
Ooh. There are tales I could tell to make your hair stand on end. Horrifying, terrifying attempts to mend.
Well, I do enjoy a good yarn, but I'm not sure I could take any more mane fright today. Well, I love a good scary story.
There's the contagious frizz that spreads friend to friend, or the story of the infinitely splitting end.
Uh-oh. And now they've mixed them up.
Thanks for the shampoo. Ta-ta! Anything about curls that keep on curling until your whole body is one big curl?
There is one story I nearly forgot. Of an earth pony who needed to clean up her shop.
Oh, that's just what I have to do. Weird.
Perhaps it'd be better if I were more clear. You can't clean up Sugar Cube Corner from here.
Gee, Sakura, I can take a hint.
With just a few drops, any mess you'll improve. If you focus on that which you want to remove.
It won't be hard to focus on the super sticky celebration string. It's kind of the only thing you can see. Sakura said it would only take a few drops, but I figured we should all chip in. Just in case. Remember to only focus on the party string. We don't want to accidentally remove anything else. Ooh, sudsy.
Yeah, and it's the wrong one, and her mane is going to be
gives you the chance
ruined.
to
And
focus on the fabulosity of your mane.
oh dear.
Not the most pleasant scent, but it gets the job done.
Oh dear. Poor Rarity. Also, the very idea of
My
pony
mane feels
showers.
lighter or
Okay, I like that transition.
It's important that you know that I am not pointing hooves, but
I don't understand. Is that you, Rarity? Why would you think to point your hooves at me?
let's just say I understand why your shampoo hasn't made a splash in the marketplace. Goodness, Sakura, you could at least pretend it isn't that bad.
I'm sorry, my dear, but there's nothing to say. You just took the wrong potion from here yesterday.
Oh, thank goodness! I thought maybe your shampoo had triggered early onset mare pattern baldness.
No,
Is
this
that actually a
was
thing?
put into motion when you mistakenly washed with remover potion.
Oh, what a relief. Well, if you could just whip up a cure, I'll be on my way. So much to do before the shoot tomorrow.
As I mentioned before, there's no easy fix. Mane mending magic's the trickiest of tricks.
Sorry?
Why not go to see Zephyr
Your mane
Breeze?
has left us forever. There's a chance we can fix it, I think, if we're clever.
Wait, there's a chance? You think?
I need to focus. If I'm to work any faster, one wrong ingredient spells utter disaster. You should go finish your list of to-dos. Keep your mind off of all of these mane-losing blues.
Huh. Put the hood up.
There's nothing to worry about. Sakura will have a cure before I've even finished my to-dos. But I don't know if I can even show my face looking like this. I'm sorry, miss, but I can't match your mane if I can't see it.
What about mine?
Marigold, I should think. I'm sorry, I believe it was my turn, and I just need to pick up some...
Perfect! Now me.
It's wonderful how this display shows that your fans provide just the right amount of air.
Well, I owe it all to Rarity.
Oh, so kind of you to say.
The kindness has nothing to do with it. Rarity always knows how to make something look.
Oh my god, I just realized something.
She looks so good herself.
This
That ain't
basically
something that's
is just saying
non-obvious, folks.
it's emphasizing something that DWK brought up, in that usually the only way you can tell the ponies apart, because they all have the same body type, is by their manes and
I
eyes.
appreciate every pony's interest.
And without her
in
mane,
colors.
nobody recognizes Rarity.
Oh,
That's kind of sad. Like, not even her voice
Once every
picks them.
pony leaves.
I'll give you twice
Tips them
whatever
off.
the pony who wants to buy the yellow one is paying. 3 times!
Sold.
Oh dear.
I can't believe how differently ponies treat you when
Oh.
you can't command their attention.
Are you sure that's what happened? Wait, you can't command Pony's attention because your mane's messed up?
Messed up. Does this look messed up to you? Honestly, how hard is it to pretend it's not so bad?
Hard.
I love Starlight.
From now on,
Also, I like that she's appearing here, even though that
mane grows back.
she doesn't really need to. It could have been Spike.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of which,
Daddy.
why
I'm
isn't
sure
Spike
no
appearing more
pony
often?
needs
Is
to make
Kathy
you feel worse than
Westlake
you already do.
trying to leave the
Didn't
show
you
or
say
something?
Zipporah was
I don't
working
know.
on a cure?
Yes, well, even if every pony isn't utterly indifferent to my presence, Sakura might not be able to fix this in time for the shoot. Can't you do a spell to restore some semblance of my mane?
The thing is, it's pretty much like Sakura said. Fixing manes with magic is...
Tricky! I know! I don't care! Make with the tricks!
Blech. Should we try it? Let's try it. Ooh! Ah! That's horrifying.
This won't do.
What the heck?
Actual mane.
But it has to come from somewhere. Huh, you can't just make a mane with magic. The results could be disastrous.
More disastrous than this.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty freaking disastrous. And there's Spike. Well, some wig shops are gonna get.
Anything else we can try?
Wait, but Sakura said there was still a chance.
At last, Rarity. I have searched for so long. What I told you before was totally wrong.
Sakura, you found a cure? That's amazing!
You mean I'll get my fabulous mane back in time for the shoot?
Oh,
Nope.
No. I'm afraid I can't fix it before the big shoot. But in time, the hair will grow back from the root. There's no magic.
Why not just
cure
cast
to
like a
do it, unless
growth
you went
acceleration
back in
type
time to
spell?
undo it.
No.
I think we can both say that's not a good option.
Aww. Poor Rarity, but I like how this episode is working out. It's pretty cool.
Right outfit can make up for any other areas that are lacking, but I will need your
Fluttershy, why not recommend she go see your brother?
How often
I mean,
is it?
I really don't want to hear him hitting on her.
Oh, come on! Can't any pony pretend it's not bad?
I'm sorry, Rarity, but no.
Try. Maybe. Well, if any of you have an idea how to make this disaster look good enough for Photo Finish's piece in Vanity Fair on the most beautiful...
Applejack's gonna be the one to say it, isn't she?
To hearing it.
Is that all?
No problem.
Or are they gonna go see?
I don't understand, Apple.
That's weird because we've seen before the cows are sentient.
That's just it. It looks like we hired a new milkmaid.
This is pretty close to my color as a youngin'.
Yeah?
Just a little down-home ingenuity.
It's a good idea, Applejack, but Photo Finish is looking for the most beautiful manes, not bonnets. This'll do the trick. Just you wait.
Whoa.
You know, this is really quite fetching. Yes! Nailed it!
Left it behind.
Just not portable.
Fluttershy. No, what? Your brother? What? He studied this! Heck no.
Let's face it, we'll just have to call Photo Finish and cancel.
Wow, the episode's pretty far close to over.
Rarity's been feeling, but I never thought she'd
Huh.
cancel her shoot with Photo Finish.
I didn't realize.
Right? But it's Rarity. If any pony can turn lemons into lemonade, it's her.
I guess it's harder for her when she feels like the lemon.
Well, she's not a lemon. She's our friend, and right now she needs our support.
She's not even in there. Or she is.
Would you mind closing the door? I'm more comfortable in the dark.
Oh, emo Rarity.
Okay, Rarity. You've done just about enough soaping.
How many tubs of freaking ice cream? How is she not fat? I'm sorry, but what the heck? It must be the stress of running the shops. That's what it is.
Lovely of you to say, but it's hard to argue with cold, hard facts. What facts are those? That without my mane, I simply can't shine as I once did. Ponies treat me like the sad, invisible pony I've become.
Hear that, or they scream and run away.
You're not invisible. You're our friend. A friend who started a fashion empire.
A friend who made us all feel beautiful.
Empire, huh? That's actually a pretty
Friend who stuck
big
by
word
us
to
no
use,
matter
but
what.
it
A friend
works.
so generous that she once chopped off her own tail to help a sea serpent.
Holy crap.
I know you lost some confidence when you
That's a
lost your
callback.
hair, but unlike your hair, Confidence is something you can get back right now.
Goodness, you're right. The only pony behaving differently today was me. Besides, what doesn't shine from the outside in?
Well,
Rarity? What are you doing?
I'm preparing to shine from the inside out. Oh,
dang.
awesome.
It's my own fault. I shouldn't have bought flowers without asking Spoiled what she likes.
Well, we don't have much left. What does she like?
Purple?
I have a solution. Rarity, that mane is amazing. Thank you. Although I'm afraid I missed my chance at Vanity Mare, which means I have quite a few lavender arrangements to spare.
Is lavender purple?
Very much so.
The windswept look is very last season.
I wonder if she got that outfit
Perhaps
from,
we'll set this up outside. It's sure to draw in the
whatever her
whole
name was from, what's, anyways, what,
Photoshoot or no, you can always use a chaise.
Well, Rarity, if you wanted to shine from the inside out, I think this afternoon you became the brightest filly in Equestria.
Oh, pshaw, Applejack.
anyways, I was trying to say, I wonder if she got that,
Time I wasted feeling sorry for myself. I don't
that
know why you were so upset.
outfit from the pony
Looks
in
awesome.
episode 9,
Glad
who
that
did
I
all the goth
called you to remind
outfits.
you that even if I accidentally use magic
Also,
remover potion on my mane, I can look good on the outside.
Can we
as
please
long as I
actually
feel
keep
good
this
on
for a
the
couple
inside.
episodes?
How'd you end up
It-
using remover potion on your head anyway?
Pinky!
No wonder they haven't seen her for so long. She's probably been in there trying to clean for...
Pinky must have the shampoo. Shampoo? Well, that explains why our manes are all so bouncy and soft.
And all that
I'll
stuff's...
fetch the rest of that remover potion. Great! Hey, is there something different about you? New hair polish? So you're sure? You're sure it's fully recovered?
Yes, Rarity.
Ah.
In months. Your mane
It's been
looking fine.
months?
Ooh, look! It's the most beautiful manes in Equestria issue of Vanity Mare. You should read it. Oh, honestly, Pinky, after all I went through, I'm not sure it even matters what mane graces the pages. Read it! But I
Hers.
canceled the shoot.
We had a little talk with Photo Finish.
And explained just how beautiful we thought you were, inside and out. While you were shining from the inside out, Photo Finish took a few pictures.
Huh.
Don't know.
Creeper photo finish.
You don't have to say anything. Your style speaks for itself.
Oh. Wow. That's a thing. Huh. Wow. Long cast list this time. Makes up for the last couple. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, drawing to the end here of the credits. So let's X out of that. And time to talk about the episode. So I don't normally do this. Normally I record my thoughts immediately after I watch the episode, and it's just nothing but word vomit that comes out of my mouth and everybody regrets it. But this time, I decided to wait for a while and re-record my thoughts because my initial thoughts after watching the episode aren't really a good reflection of my overall experience with the episode. The second time I watched it, I actually enjoyed it even more than I did the first time. And every time since then, it's gone up a little bit more in my estimation. And by now, it's one of my favorite episodes of the season, even though it's not objectively the best. It has some problems with its story structure and its writing and its pacing and all that sort of stuff. But overall, it's still a really good episode. And there's a lot that I want to talk about. So I don't want to keep you here too long, but I figure we got a few minutes here to make up for. So let's just go through it. First of all, there was a lot of background characters in this episode. A lot of characters that we haven't heard talk in a long time, if at all. Starting with, I do believe, Berry Punch in the very first scene, followed, Berry Punch was later. Sorry, I forgot. It's Berry Punch was the first pony we saw, basically. Though not technically, we'll get to that in a minute. But there was, Filthy Rich was there, and the Flower Ponies, and Bon Bon, and just, and the, Davenport and the Fan Guy there. So many characters that we haven't really had much experience with, and it's really great to see them back and getting small roles like that just nevertheless establish them as part of the universe here. And I really hope that that sort of thing comes up more often in the future. Even if it does mean they have to have a few more voice actors per episode. In any case, that thing I mentioned earlier, the first ponies that we saw were, one of them was actually an apple. There was a lot of Apple stuff in this episode, even though it wasn't in the forefront. And the one specifically that I was thinking of was actually in the very first few frames, we got to see Apple Bloom talking to Burnt Oak, presumably asking for stories about her father, and I really want to know what Burnt Oak was telling her. I really hope that there's a fan fiction that comes out eventually that details that sort of thing. Because, it's been a week plus and still hasn't happened, so that's unfortunate. But in any case, I believe Apple Bloom was at that market in the first place because Granny and Grandpa were there. They were selling pears and presumably apples in the stand there. And that was really nice to see. It was just a sweet little touch. Like, we can't really afford that voice actor ever again, probably, but it's nice to have Grandpa in the show. By the way, if we ever had an Apple Family and Discord episode, we could have Grandpa and Discord interact, and we could have the two Star Trek actors interacting, and that would be awesome. Too bad Larry Nimoy is not around anymore to voice a character in this show. I would really have loved that. In any case, one more thing for the apples. When we went to see, when Applejack took Rarity to the farm, towards the middle-ish end of the episode or so, Sugar Mac. I didn't even notice it the first time. But yeah, Big Mac was leading Sugar Belle around the farm, presumably to introduce her to the family. And I really hope we get another episode with them sometime soon. Just like, I don't know what it would be, whether it's maybe they get married, maybe they break up. Who knows? I mean, it would be hard for the show to cover a breakup because that's just not the sort of thing that MLP really does. Breakups are terrible, terrible things. They mess with your head and just, like, it would be a very difficult thing for them to do, but they've done more sensitive stuff in the past, so, recent past, I guess, so, they might be able to do it. But it's very nice to have Sugar Belle interacting with Big Mac and just continuing that relationship, and I do wonder what's going to happen to them if they do get married. Like, are they going to stay in Starlight the Village, or are they going to stay in Ponyville? That's a big deal, because no matter what, it means a character being introduced to an environment that they've never been before, or that they don't normally stay in there. Like, it would be on par with Maud moving to Ponyville, or Discord being reformed, or Grandpa appearing. So that's a thing for the future. Now, of course, the big thing this episode, besides Rarity's mane, was Zecora. It's been a long time since we've seen Zecora, and I don't know when exactly it was, but the last time she definitely got a speaking role was in the season 5 finale, and that wasn't even really our Zecora. That was an alternate timeline. So, yeah, been a while. Unfortunately, though, this isn't the big Zecora Zebra episode that I was hoping it would be. I was really hoping that we would get a lot of information about where Zecora comes from and how she knows the stuff that she does, and just expanding on the world lore there, and that didn't happen. In terms of zebras, we did get a little bit of something else, though. And that's the next thing we gotta talk about, is apparently main magic is very difficult, which is, I mean, kind of surprising. And when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of sketchy. And as I continued watching it, I was like, well, there might be an explanation here. And then just recently I watched another reaction, and they were just like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of funny that out of all the stuff that they can do in this universe, fixing a main is the one thing that is impossible. And it's kind of like, you know what, that actually is pretty funny. And it's like, in real life, there's a lot of stuff that's really, really hard that you wouldn't think it is, and then there's a lot of stuff that's actually really simple that you wouldn't think it is. So, who are we to really judge what they can and can't do in this show? Now, at the same time, though, like I said, I started thinking about, well, maybe there's an explanation here. And what I came up with is that there's we've seen characters use their manes and tails to pick stuff up, to hit things with, or something like that. Like Buckball, Fluttershy and Buckball, the way her control over her tail there was pretty impressive. And we've seen Twilight in the past, like, bounce Spike off of her tail. And of course, Pinkie Pie is the master of using her mane and tail for all kinds of things, including as a drill. So, it seems to me that there might be some sort of innate magic inside of a pony's mane, similar to how Earth ponies have it in their hooves, and Pegasi have it in their wings, and unicorns have it in their horn. So, if that's the case, it kind of makes sense then that other forms of magic wouldn't really be able to interact with main magic in that kind of way. You'd have to do it in a very specific way in order to make it not cause a catastrophe. Kind of like how Harmony magic and the magic in Starlight's spells, like time travel magic and Harmony magic, don't really mix that well, as we saw in the Season 5 finale. Different types of magic in general don't seem to mix, so it's kind of a continuation of that, and in a way makes sense. At the same time, yeah, it's kind of just sudden that that's introduced. And hi, who are you going past? Okay, where was I? Right, but the one thing that really kind of upset me about the episode, that when they were talking about mains, is I was like, well, why not call Fluttershy's brother? Where's Zephyr Breeze? Because that was his whole thing, was main therapy. So it's like all of the other stuff that they did, and they even had Fluttershy, so it's like, why not even have a passing line there of, well, I can't, my brother's busy, I can't get a hold of him to come out here, but I'm sure it's not that difficult. Let's try it, Rarity, and then just utterly fail. You know, that sort of thing. But speaking of that, I now have new respect for Zephyr Breeze. I never would have thought I'd ever say that, but the fact that he's able to do stuff with mains the way that he does is kind of incredible now that we know how difficult it is. And it means that when he went into main therapy training, when I first heard that's what he chose to do, I was like, oh my god, he really is just a bum. I thought it was this lower class sort of thing that people only do to get out of doing other stuff, you know? No personal offense meant to people in this world who go into, what do they call it, cosmology or whatever? Going out and learning how to be a hairdresser and whatnot. I mean, some of my experiences going to get my haircut have not been very pleasant because the people weren't very personal. They just kind of shoved my head around and dug the thing into the clippers into my scalp. So, I mean, you'd think that in that school they would teach people how to be very personable and how to be gentle and treat people's heads nice. Apparently that's not something that they do teach very often, or maybe it's just a company thing, maybe it's just the place I go to, I don't know. But, like, it sometimes must be difficult to deal with people's hair. Like, number one, kind of gross. Number two, you gotta do it in just the right way, and if you make a mistake, it's on your head there. Like, in Equestria, before this episode, we would have been like, oh, well, they probably have, like, a spell to grow the hair back if they make a mistake. Obviously, that's not the case. But here in the real world, though, we definitely don't have anything like that. If a hairdresser makes a mistake and cuts off more than they were supposed to, yikes. So, I mean, that is pretty difficult. But at the same time, like, in Equestria, like I said, we would have thought there would be a spell. We would have thought it would be something very easy to do. This establishes that it's actually very difficult, and therefore, I look at Zephyr and I'm like, well, he must actually have some bit of ambition there. Like, I mean, that's a very difficult thing to do. So unless it's some kind of like achievement in ignorance, like he wasn't aware of how hard it was when he went out for it, that just raises his I don't know what the word would be, but it's not ambition exactly, but it's like he chose something very difficult to put on in his life path, and that's pretty impressive. I mean, dream big, right? But I mean, even if that was the case, even if he didn't realize what he was getting himself into, the fact that he is that good at it, that's impressive enough. I mean, yeah, in Equestria they have some sort of they have their special talents and all that, but I spent a lot of time, don't read into this at all, but I did spend a lot of time looking at Zephyr's cutie mark, trying to figure out, like, well, what is he meant to do here? And his cutie mark is just like a little cartoon breeze thing, if I'm remembering correctly, which makes no indication of that he would have a natural ability to do that with mains. So, I mean, at the same time, it's not always indicative. Like, Rarity's cutie mark is gems, and her special talent is finding the gems and using the gems. It says nothing about her ability to sew and make dresses and whatnot, but there you go. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Other notes, I loved Starlight in this episode. Just the fact that she was there, and the fact just the way that she was interacting with the other characters was so subtle, but it really does. It shows that she is now a part of the main group, which I'm ecstatic about. And all the Starlight haters I don't know, they can stop watching the show if they want. I love Starlight. I love the fact that she's now basically a part of the main group without any fanfare. She can appear in an episode and just be there. I hope Kelly Sheridan can remain on the show for a long time, so yeah. It's just, yeah. Now, the one detriment to the episode, though, was that Starlight kind of took Spike's place in this episode. She's been doing that a lot lately, and I think here it was to the detriment of this episode itself. It's, like, my one thing that I can actually really complain about, like, story structure and all that, yeah, it could have been a little bit better, but I can't really complain about it. It wasn't that bad. The fact that Spike had no role in this whatsoever, it doesn't just hurt the episode, actually. It also hurts Spike as a character. Because here's the thing. Spike's crush on Rarity has been a defining trait of his since the very first episode. With that in mind, the fact that he doesn't really appear here and doesn't even really acknowledge her hair kind of comes across as him only really caring about her for her looks, which might have been true back when they first met, but by now it really shouldn't have been. And I really wish that it had been Spike who spoke up first in the boutique and was like, Rarity, get your shit together. And sorry to put it so in such a vulgar way, but yeah, that he really should have been the one to say that. He's always been the voice of reason for Twilight. There's no reason why he couldn't have been the voice of reason to Rarity here. And what's more, if Spike had been the one to just exposit how great Rarity was even without her mane. It just would have worked out so well. And it might be that, yes, I'm looking at that through shipping glasses, but at the same time, it would have give some depth to that relationship, even if they're just friends. So, I mean, yeah, someone like me who ships it could obviously read into it whatever they want, but someone who didn't ship it could just be like, oh, that's actually pretty nice. And I really wish they'd done that. Now, all that other stuff that I said, though, about, like, Zecora's character and main magic and wanting Zephyr Breeze there, that stuff kind of falls by the wayside when you actually realize what the point of the episode really was. Because the point of the episode wasn't to fix Rarity's mane, it wasn't to make her look beautiful again, even though with that punk rock hairstyle, she looked amazing. It was that Rarity lost confidence in herself, and I didn't realize this until about, like, the third time watching the episode. I started to enjoy it a lot more just for the humor, but once I realized what the actual point of the episode was, I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. And once you know what to look for, it's very obvious. You go back to right after basically she made right after that child started crying when she saw Rarity's hair. Right after that, Rarity basically became Fluttershy. She just kind of withdrew. She started speaking very softly. She didn't have any confidence in herself. And without that confidence, she couldn't function. She couldn't do the things that she normally would do. She wouldn't even... it wouldn't. And I saw a video a little while, either right after or right before I watched the episode, that asked the question, does Rarity have two elements? And I suppose one of those elements could be the element of self-confidence, if that's what they were going for. I don't know. I didn't watch the actual video. I just only saw the thumbnail, which makes me think that it was before I watched the episode. Either way, though, Rarity is all about self-confidence and inner light and all that, and it's really nice to see that treatment of her. And just, yeah, once you see that and once you understand what the episode was actually going for, you go back and rewatch it, and it does kind of falter a little bit with how she made herself look amazing again with the punk rock hairstyle. But then again, imagine if she'd had that punk rock hairstyle but gone out there in forgo the cloak, but go out there with the same attitude that she had earlier, just kind of sneaking around, standing in the back, speaking softly, having her head down. It wouldn't have looked as amazing as it did. It would have looked kind of tacky, and it would have came across as very desperate. It wouldn't have made her look amazing. It was the way that she went out and she carried herself, and she was just like, look at me! And was her usual self. That's how it came to actually look amazing. So, while it falters a little bit, it still works. And I love that. Now, final thing here. Oh, this went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but whatever. Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie is one of my favorite characters in the show. Any episode where we have Rarity and Pinkie Pie together, automatically really just going to be a good episode in my opinion. And this one is no exception to that. But it actually lives up to it, so it's good that way. But in this episode specifically, like, some episodes, Pinkie Pie can be kinda, well, you all know what Pinkie Pie can be. But in this one, she was handled very, very well. She was her usual fun-loving self, but she also ended up being the unwitting instigator of doom when she got the sticky string in Rarity's hair. And then when she ended up asking Zecora to tell the story, that caused Rarity to flip out and made things even worse. But there was never any mean-spiritedness behind it. It wasn't like in Philly Vanilli, where Pinkie Pie, being her insensitive self, ended up saying some things that actually kind of hurt Fluttershy. Here it was just Pinkie Pie is kind of oblivious to some certain things that it doesn't really hurt anything. It's accidental. It's just her over-enthusiasm, and I really like that. But I also like the fact that they got her out of the way very early, and that actually enables the entire rest of the story to actually happen. See, here's the thing, and this actually does come from Applegeek a little bit here. After I watched his reaction, he brought up the line by Pinkie Pie where she's like, Rarity, did you do something different? Get a new hoof polish or something? And that he was like, it's really cool that Pinkie Pie doesn't seem to notice other ponies' physical traits, and she only sees their insides. And he asked the viewers, like, is there anything that ever contradicts this? And I thought to myself, and I was like, I don't remember anything. Actually, I remember things that support it. And I can't actually quote any episode specifically, but I do recall episodes where Pinkie Pie didn't notice some physical thing that had changed about her friends, but just instead was seeing them for who they are. And in this episode, that actually could have broken the entire conflict if she hadn't been waylaid the way she was. If Pinkie Pie had been there for Rarity, she would have snapped her out of it instantly, because Pinkie Pie wouldn't have really cared about the mane. Out of all of them, like all the other ponies, including Sakura, they freaked out when they saw Rarity's messed up mane, and they were just like, oh my god, that's horrible. Pinkie Pie would have been like, cool hairstyle, Rarity. What are we doing today? And they would have just gone off on their way, and Rarity would have been like, oh, well, that's cool. Somebody not noticing it. And it would have helped her rise back up really quickly, far too quickly for this episode's conflict to actually take place. So, I really love the way that they used Pinkie Pie here, and made her be herself, but made it work. And yeah, that was the last bit. So real quick, just before we go, I want to bring up my list of rankings for season 7. Just to tell you that this one has actually made it to the top 5. Barely, but it made it. And just so we're clear, the other top 5 so far, number 1 place, of course, A Royal Problem. In 2nd place, All Balled Up, best Starksea episode ever. In 3rd place, Fame and Misfortune. And in 4th place, To Change Changeling. Yes, The Perfect Pair is only at number 7, which is kind of unfortunate, but what are you going to do here? This season has been amazing, and I can only hope that the next episode that I watch here is going to be just as good. So, that's pretty much everything I have to say about It Isn't the Main Thing About You. And I'm actually really glad that I waited as long as I did to do this. It took way too long, but hey, there we go. And so, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.